Okay, everybody. Hey, had to wait a few seconds here. I'm going to kind of speak closer to the microphone. I'm having a little issue, but everybody knows I've been having an issue with my video recording. So a lot of individuals have spoken to me and said, you need to speak up. We can't really hear all your points that you're making. So um, here we go. This is an update on Angelina County and the deaths of Mr. Stolik, uh, Mr. Smallwood, the continuing lawsuit against Angelina County and jail personnel. Also, a little history on what my research has done and what I have done about it. So, to refresh everybody's memory, what if you or your staff had a video that could prove the facts that you based up, but that you quoted to federal authorities and the DPS and the Texas Rangers? What if you decided to withhold that from the public? Doesn't that raise the question? Because if everything happened the way it should have happened, then the video should back up what the statements show. So actually, we would get a full picture of what happened, why it happened, what were the events that transpired to make it happen, all these issues. However, as noted, Sheriff Selman's transparency on this death has been questioned by many. There has been many inquiries into the fact is why won't he release the video? So here is what I've done. I do not expect anything from the county. They're going to continue covering up the events that took 2 lives, and also the covering up of the events that killed Miss Hartman, which was settled in 2022. So in other words, we do not know how these individuals died in a county jail. As a public, we should know. I reiterate, we should know because we need to know if there is any updates that we need to do to the jail. We need to know, is there any tax reforms that we need to do as citizens to increase the security of our jail? And it's not all negative. In other words, if there is an issue there at the jail, which there obviously is, you got 2 people who died within a year of each other. That's a problem. We believe full disclosure should be necessary to explain why that these deaths happened and explain it to us like we're 3-year-olds, because we're the one who's ultimately going to pay for the jail or have to pay for an inmate to occupy our jail. One of the complaints that we have from the Angelina County Commissioner's Office is that the cost in the jail, they want to reduce the cost in the jail. Okay, but how about this? You got guys that are laying in there for 3, 4, 5 years without a trial. And they're just soaking up taxpayer dollar right there because they refuse or are unable to get them to trial. That is one way that we are getting used to house individuals who they never intended going to jail. Serious crimes, sexual predator, sexual assault, all these crimes seem to have a problem. We have a problem taking these individuals to court. So here are the steps that I've taken. I spoke with the FBI today. I reported to the FBI the findings of my investigation. I reported the lack of integrity and the lack of transparency in the DPS/Texas Rangers report, which I had in my hand when I was quoting them, which showed that the only person there was actually Sheriff Selman, who actually made the statement. I noted, and they took note of the fact is that no one else was questioned, no witnesses, no trustees, nobody involved in the area except for Sheriff Selman actually gave the events of what happened. So we're calling, so in both of these scenarios, the individual's name that keeps coming up is Lieutenant Rodriguez. You can, if you've known anybody that has been in Angelina County Jail, they can tell you all about him. He rose from corporal to lieutenant at an unheard of rate, and there's a reason why that is. Many individuals who have been in the jail or have knowledge of the jail or have spoken to people who have been in jail makes the comment that prison is run like a game. And our Angelina County Jail is run like a game where lieutenants and senior sergeants run the night operations, and they run off-duty hours or weekends when nobody's really available there. So basically, there's no telling what goes on when everybody leaves at 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever time they actually leave. So we don't know what transpires. Any way of knowing has been refused to actually be released of the Angelina County Jail. Multiple jails in Texas have realized this problem. Their community has spoken up and said, we need to know what's happening in the jail. And they have given tours of the jail. They have walked through the procedures that you go through when you get to jail, the booking process. They explain the commissary, they explain everything. So you as an individual, as a family member or anybody that is interested, you know the process of what a person is going through when they actually hit county jail. County jail is county jail. Your freedom to move, those freedoms are taken away. But these individuals are awaiting trial, and they haven't been convicted of anything, and they are treated as if they're guilty before they're proven innocent. The behavior of the guards reflect that. The behavior of the guards is actually maintained and actually is a status quo based on their leadership. So in other words, when a guard has a situation or something happen, they rely on their leadership to provide feedback because they have been there, done that, and got the t-shirt on how these things properly should be handled. It's a failure of leadership within inside the county jail. It's a failure of leadership by the sheriff. It is a failure of leadership by our commissioners who are supposed to be an oversight of our county jail. So if the video of Smallwood would have been released, could Mr. Stolic's death been avoided? Could the public demand correction of these issues that they see on the video? These are big coulds. These are big whats. What if? Could Mr. Stolic's death been prevented? In the Ms. Hartman case, if release a video or a detailed information released by the county jail, would that have saved Mr. Smallwood's life? And the only piece of evidence that we actually have that we can count on is the videotape that will not be released by Kerry Kirby, Sheriff Selman, the commissioners. What are they hiding? A death occurred in your jail. You would think that people would actually go above and beyond to prove that they acted per regulations instead of running and hiding from the issue. I have contacted the Attorney General's office. I wrote them a letter yesterday. I wrote a letter to the Office of Inspector General of Texas. Knowing as I do how the Smallwood case was handled, it forced me to actually look at all my avenues. And now I'm responding, and I'm actually getting federal officials involved. Started with the FBI. And here's the reason why. Because the Texas jail system that's used to monitoring these jails and putting them in and out of compliance says there's nothing they can do. 2 individuals died and there's nothing you can do. If an individual dies in a jail and you're the Texas Commission on TDISTG, I'm sorry, but anyway, it escapes my mind right now. Texas Jail Commission investigation, and you're actually you're required to go out to these jails and see if they're compliant or not. As soon as a death happens in a jail, there should be somebody from that organization showing up right now and saying, what are the procedures? How did this man die? And is there anything that you can correct? They should be right there. But they weren't. They refused to look into these deaths. And here's the reason why. Because Angelina County was held non-compliant in these issues. They've had medical issues in the past, not issuing out prescriptions or medication, but not monitoring individuals, not issuing out prescriptions or medication, but not monitoring individuals that they put in restraints or they put in detox or they put in solitary confinement. There's rules that you have to go check on these individuals every 10, 15 minutes. And if you're in solitary, there are regular rounds that are required by the state of Texas. It has been said, well, they checked on him within 10 minutes of blah. Well, show me the logbook. Because what your statement says in the time of the coroner's death and all this, it doesn't match up. Here's an interesting tidbit is that he died at 11:36, Mr. Smallwood, and he wasn't booked in until 12:28. The reason why that was a typo. It was a handwritten form. So either one or two things happen. We got people in jail, don't even know what time it is. Or this was haphazardly made up to cover up the information that they don't want to get out. Every local television, news media, even in and outside of the state. There is a paper, a newspaper in Tampa Bay, Florida. Okay, Tampa Bay, Florida, who ran 2 stories, one on the Smallwood death and one on the Stolick death. They're coming out with that statement right now. They're actually doing their research so they can write another story because they're questioning the deaths of individuals in jails within a year. You would think that there would be procedures in place and they would actually start training these individuals on how this cannot happen again, but it happened again. So obviously that did not get done. So the question of the matter is that why are they holding back this information? What are they scared of? And if it's used as well, the family doesn't want the video to be seen or whatever. I understand. I feel for these families, whatever, and I'm trying my best to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else again. And unfortunately, release of that video of the death of Mr. Smallwood is part of that, and it's gone through the grand jury. It has gone through. It is public information. This video is public information, and we have the right to know what happened, especially in a death in a jail. Anyone who disagrees with that, or probably from Angelina County, who probably know what happened in the jail and probably is okay with it. Death of anybody should be fully investigated, even if it's in county jail. The TDC, when there's a death that happens in their facility, there is an immediate investigation by not only state, but federal to make sure everybody's in compliance. We have been we've been in non-compliance for 21 years, 20 and 21. Now we got people dying in 2022 or somewhere in 2021 after they became compliant again. They had to fix a bunch of crap. They didn't, but it didn't do anything because Miss Hartman died. Now, our county commissioners have just approved the bids for the county jail expansion. So in other words, we're going to be able to house more prisoners or inmates or people who are detainees waiting for trial. How can we honestly do that when we can't even take care of the individuals that we have in the jail now? There's 276 members in the jail right now. You're going to add another 200 to that. That's 476 inmates. That'll take a year for them to get to trial. So how long do you want to foot the bill? It doesn't matter how you slice it. To house somebody in jail, detainee waiting for trial, costs the taxpayers money. You would think that the taxpayers would say, okay, we got them in jail. That's first step. But we need to issue a speedy trial so these people actually get a fair trial. Not by county jail officials who decide whether they get to live or die. Not by jail officials who do or do not follow the Eighth Amendment, because there are rights. Even if you're a detainee, you still have certain rights. And death is not one of those rights. If you committed suicide, if something along that matters or whatever, we would be asking, how the hell did he kill himself in jail? What methods did he use so we can correct that as taxpayers? But a death deemed an accident leaves the issue wide open. How did the accident happen? Show me. I'm from Missouri. Show me. And as we have learned, we cannot take the word of our elected officials or those who are appointed to these positions. It has been proven over and over and over again. Our roads, for one, that keeps coming to mind. That's a hot topic right now, is the roads and the lack of maintenance on our roads. There are many other issues, taking property from people who has been willed to it, and they say they question the will, whatever, so they take the property back. There's many issues that are going on here in Angelina County. However, the fact is I'm concentrating on this one because this involves death. And for anybody not to go the whole 9 yards investigating how a person died is a Gotta watch what I say here. Let's put it this way, they're not Christian. And anybody who would witness this and doesn't come forward, then you're a coward. For not showing the video, owning up to what happened, owning up to what your statement says, you're a coward. If you're hiding behind any entity, you're a coward. Pure, plain, and simple. We were waiting to see, okay, and the press, I've been notified the press, these individuals that I set up. However, the fact is, this is not the end, because now I'm preparing documentation that I currently have, and I'm sending it off to civil rights groups who are federal. They don't have to go through the state bullshit system. They don't have to worry about the good old boy network. So now, Angelina County, you're going to have this to attend to. The feds are going to be here. The feds are looking into this. The feds are going to go lock, stock, and barrel and find out what happened. And there will be federal charges filed in this incident. Should there people be fired that were involved in these deaths? At least they should be suspended until we get all the facts. And it's up to the taxpayers whether they want to pay their salary while this investigation goes on. For James Hicks, the DPS officer / Texas Ranger, Internal Affairs, I've reached out to Internal Affairs, there it's DPS and Texas Rangers, and the fact is that they're going to be looking into this report. Not only this report, but all reports that he has filed since 2022 to 2023 and 2024. We're going to see a pattern here. A pattern that we've all known for a long period of time. Even the DPS know it because they reassigned him to another area because of his relationship he had with elected officials here in Angelina County. He was cooking the books, got caught. So why in the hell is he doing an investigation in Lufkin? And did he do an investigation in Lufkin? It is believed, and it is believable, he did not do any investigating whatsoever. He just let Selman do the investigation, and he let the perpetrators investigate their own crime. They covered it up. Now, we're not talking about some pity ass pothole and you injured your kids, or you injured your car or something like that. That right there should be addressed. That should be addressed now. Given. But now we've graduated to people dying in our jail, and we can't even get any answers for that. We found out what happened with the investigation on the roads. They were cooking the books. And they fired an individual who actually brought it to the public's attention. This is crookeder than a dog's hind legs. It is. And I am not going to rest until I have a proper investigation in writing from federal or state state resources and everything possible. Trust me, I am going through every possible area, any possible avenue to let the public know outside of Angelina County. So don't be confused when people start asking questions around here. Don't be confused whenever you start seeing black sedans, you start seeing people moving and shaking around Angelina County. Because they're following up. They're following up on a bullshit story, and they're following up on a bunch of cowards who are avoiding justice because of their position. We're talking about a death of 3 individuals, and we cannot get any answers. And we get answers only from one individual who wasn't even there. And we hear from nobody that was there. I will guarantee you, if one of these individuals or a trustee comes forward, gives you this information, they will be fired on the spot, and they will have to sign a non-disclosure agreement on their way out. If they haven't already filed a non-disclosure agreement on this incident, trustees will be named. If you are in or out, you will be named, and believe me, repercussions will happen, because the fact is that if you're stopped for any way, shape, form, or fashion, the Angelina County Sheriff's Department will take retribution on you and put you back in jail to shut you up. This is the way things work here in Angelina County. And I am so sorry that people think that this is all on the up and up, and we're just a sleepy little county where people just come to go fishing and retire. It should be that, but it's not. And it's time we as citizens start to realize we've been hoodwinked, we've been lied to. We've had to accept those lies for so long that it becomes automatic that we have to accept it. We don't, whatever comes out of their mouth, we all know it's bullshit. You call bullshit, you go to war with them, and guess what? Nothing happens of it, because it is a network, the good old boy network. So I'm releasing this video. Like I said, like or share it or whatever. Once again, the Tyler Lopez case is still ongoing. There are individuals that are still going to be served here in the next week or 2 weeks, and it's going to get ugly before it gets better. And it's all because these individuals cannot be transparent. They do not get to decide what transparency is. The local, federal, and state government gets to tell you what you should have, what you have to disclose, and what you can't. Once you don't, that starts the initial reaction, because what are they hiding? Every state agency, every federal agency I have spoken to, a person on the other end asked, what are they hiding? I gave a chronicle synopsis of exactly Smallwood case. Stoic were waiting on information, and I cannot wait till this information is. I cannot wait for them to go to war so I can explain to you individuals and show you the documentation that we get of them hiding and sliding and basically bullshitting citizens of Angelina County, but also that bullshitting the state of Texas and also the federal government. They've had their chance. It's time to clean up your act. Should have got the hint. Now, they're about to expose the cover up. God help who's ever involved. If you're a county employee, I would be not scared, but I would be concerned. What are they going to ask me, and what do I know? So let's say a prayer for the individuals, or keep in prayers the individuals who passed away in Angelina County that were not needed, that we could have prevented. Pray for forgiveness that we could have prevented this, and our apathy and our lack of interest has caused these 3 deaths. Please like and share. If not, I'm sharing it everywhere I can. You guys be good, be careful, keep the powder dry.